Hey guys and gals, before we get into the podcast, just want to give you a quick little heads up. The podcast may have a little different sound to it. That is due to some purchasing of new equipment that we are trying to get accustomed to. So you may hear some things like us overlapping each other and it may fade in and out. But as an editor, I don't claim to be professional, but I try to do the best job possible to give you a quality product week in and week out. We're not professional, nor do we claim to be. And it's three guys talking about sports. So just want to give you a little heads up. No ambush, no sneak attack, no surprise, because a lot of people don't like that. Well, anyways, enjoy episode 48 of the Sports Bros Podcast. Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man, Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. And without any further ado, here they are, the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC, the head of creative. And guess what? This is episode number 48 of the Sports Bros Podcast. Let's see. Any famous 48s? Yep, Jimmy Johnson. Yep, I was thinking
Jimmy
about
Johnson.
him. I saw the number, but I couldn't place the face or the name. And former Carolina Panthers running back, Stephen Davis. Yeah, just imagine we had him for, the rest of his career. But anyways, I digress, and I'm gonna put the tracks, the train back on the tracks. I'll push it, but y'all get what the hell I mean. All right. Introducing my co-host in this Fumble Festival podcast, the Almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? This be your boy, the Almighty B Live, episode 48 coming at you, man. And with a new little format for myself, I'm trying to upgrade. I'm trying to adult. So hopefully I sound a little bit better to you. I was actually listening to our first preview episode, and I've had the same problems from episode 1 all the way up to 48. They can't hear me clearly. I'm just all over the place. So maybe this time I'll get it right. But you know what? Maybe they didn't come to hear me. Maybe they came to hear that other guy that we're so lucky to have.
Speaking of that other guy we're so lucky to have, the number one fan of the Dallas Renegades, the one, the only, the trivia god himself, the Money Man, Scotty D.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie.
Early.
Drove my Chevy to the levee. I'm sorry, I got that song stuck in my head ever since Saturday night.
Oh,
and guys,
man.
I want to tell you something. I think you're wrong about Jimmy Johnson being 48. He was only the second coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He was number 2.
Oh my God!
Tom Landry was number 1. Wow, Jimmy Johnson was number 2. I mean,
we get your reference.
Hall of Fame head coach.
We
Jimmy
understand.
Johnson, second coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
That was not the reference we were going for, and all roads do not lead back to the Lone Star State, but that's cool.
Jimmy Johnson, Hall of Famer, 2 Super Bowl trophies, second coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Appreciate the reference right off the top there, guys.
Jimmy Johnson, Hall of Famer, how many time NASCAR champion, number 48 on his car. That's what we talking about.
Thing to me later, because I'm not really sure what that's all about. But well, let's talk some sports here, guys.
All right. Well, we know for a fact that you damn sure didn't watch the Daytona 500, so that's either here nor there. So speaking of bye Miss American Pie and Saturday night, the anticipated rematch between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder 2 unfinished business. And fellas, you probably wonder why I'm laughing. A whole lot went on in a short amount of time. He said he was going to knock him out in the second round, but he was still standing. I'm gonna let you fellas opine on it first, and then I had something that came to me, and I'll opine later. Scotty D, what you got about this fight, man? What you think about this here fight?
Well, if you listened to the show last week, I predicted a Tyson Fury win by way of decision.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, it didn't quite go that way because I was not expecting Fury to knock Wilder out. I thought he would outbox him, do whatever he could to avoid the big hit. We know that he could take the big hit from Wilder because he did it twice in the last fight. So I thought that fear factor that a lot of the fighters suffer when they get in with Wilder would not be the case with Fury. I didn't anticipate him just bullying him for 7 rounds, though. At one point, I looked and I thought, man, he just looks like a lot bigger guy. And I know that technically he was. I know he put on Fury, that is, put on some weight for this fight, and I think he came in at like over 270, and Wilder was in the 230s. But it just looked like it looked different to me than it did in the first fight, as far as a big guy fighting a smaller guy in this case. And I mean, heavyweight division, it is what it is. But it was a game plan executed to perfection by Fury. Mm-hmm. He outboxed him. It just raises the question now of what's going to happen to Wilder going forward. Does this kind of defeat, because it was a sound butt kicking, how's that going to affect him going forward? There was a lot of debate after the fight whether he should exercise his rematch clause. I think he has 30 days to do that. Or do you let Wilder kind of rebuild and fight someone else, maybe do as a confidence gainer? Because, guys, if you look at this, Wilder lost all 7. Maybe he might have won round 2 the other night. But in 7 rounds, he may have won 1 round. The previous fight was against, I forget, was it Ortiz?
Yeah, King Kong Ortiz, yeah.
Yeah, he lost. He won that fight, but he lost 7 rounds there, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And in the previous fight, he knocked out Brazil in the first round. So in his last 15 rounds, he's won 2, maybe 3 rounds. I mean, this guy's getting outboxed at this point. So at this point, the big bad bully has been humbled. And you look back at some historic fighters like Mike Tyson. He was knocking everybody out. Once he got knocked out, his career trajectory changed. He wasn't quite it's almost like the mystique got knocked out of him. Mm-hmm. Same with, if you look at the UFC, man, there was a time in the UFC where a Chuck Liddell fight was just mean. Everybody couldn't wait to see the savage Chuck Liddell let out, get into the cage and let out his fury. And then he got knocked out, and he lost 7. He won 7 fights in a row by knockout, and then lost 7 fights in a row, 4 in a row by knockout. So it just makes you wonder what this does to a guy who a lot of what his mystique was the fear factor. If you see that right hand of Wilder coming at you, a fight could end at any time. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Deontay Wilder does going forward, as far as his choice of upcoming opponent, how he handles that. If he gets in there with Fury again, obviously he needs more jab work to set up that right hand, but he was clearly outclassed as far as boxing goes on Saturday night. And the bigger man just bullied him and had his way with him.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I was watching, I was like, he just didn't seem like himself. But I'm gonna go ahead and let B Live get into it, and then I'm gonna get my take on it as well. Go ahead, B Live.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, Scotty D, because, I mean, looking at the fight, it looked like for a good minute of time that Deontay Wilder was trying to bait Tyson Fury. He was trying to bait him so he can hit with, of course, that crushing right. And Tyson Fury had his jab work was just spot on with him. And so using, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tyson Fury had also a 2-inch reach advantage, if I'm not mistaken. And you would think in your mind 2 inches, not that much, but it clearly showed that, I mean, that reach advantage, he was using those technical skills. And I think we all agreed that Tyson Fury was a better technical fighter, better boxer. Deontay Wilder was he's got that one-hitter quitter. And Scotty D, I 100% agree with your analysis that Deontay Wilder doesn't win rounds. He just wins fights by knockout. Out of 42 wins, 41 by KO. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean that's been a winning formula for him, but it did not pan out this time. And so one thing, like we were talking about before the show about Deontay Wilder, he was bleeding from his ear, and Scotty D, you had mentioned while the fight was going on that it could have possibly been a ruptured eardrum. I think it ended up being just a cut to his earlobe. It's called an earlobe.
And we all went to school. To our listeners, we all went to school. We know what an earlobe is. But you ever been in a situation where it's like, I got the word for it, but I can't think of it. Yeah, we sat there for like a good 15 seconds. Like, you know what, the hell with it. That thing that dangling on the bottom of his ear.
Oh man, I'm Googling it.
Earlobe, maybe his earlobe cut.
Yeah.
But it was bleeding a lot on Saturday night. I mean, it looked like several rounds of blood trickling from the ear. That's why when it initially happened, and I think I voiced memoed you guys at the time that it happened, when he got knocked down in the third round, the look on his face looked like something was wrong. I know Max Kellerman said that punch that knocked him down was to the back of the head, but I didn't think it was. I thought it went right to the side of the head over the ear. And I thought that busted his eardrum and just kept him off balance because he was never the same after that. He even got knocked down with a body shot in the fourth or fifth round. But to me, that fight was, in retrospect, was over by that knockdown. But I swear I thought that eardrum was busted, just how much blood was coming from it. The report, I guess I saw a report on the internet this morning said it was not a busted eardrum, but it looked to me like it was damaged pretty good. Maybe his brains were leaking out of his ears. I don't know.
Something, man.
But yeah, even with that though, even though he didn't bust an eardrum, taking a hit to the side of the head like that,
for sure,
will knock off your equilibrium without question. And so, and you can clearly see that. And I mean, at that point in time, he's literally clamoring, like trying to hold on, like you've seen in the cartoons where they have the stars going around
that was it.
And everything. You clearly saw that he was not himself, and to the fact that his corner threw in the towel. How do you recover from
there was
that?
A lot of criticism.
How do you
kind of back and forth, some defending that, some criticizing that on what I saw after the fight. I mean, how did you feel about that?
Well, I look at it like this. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, like we said, he won round 2, and that was it. And then I look at if that was a fifth, we all be draw. If that. So to be dominated, for a good majority of the fight, and then that one hit side the head. Well, he slipped. Nah, he caught it. Slip nothing. Slip is oops, slip. But no, he slipped all right on the way down. He caught him. I mean, Tyson Fury caught him flush on the side of the head, on the side of the earlobe, cut him, knocked him off kilter a little bit. And I look at it like this: you either stop the fight and after he got hit, like we said, he was never the same after that. Saturday night, I said to myself, I told my girlfriend, I said, look, she said, they stopped the fight? I said, yeah. I said, it was either they stop now or stop in the 10th or the 11th.
I actually didn't think they were going to let him come out that round. I saw a conversation he was having when they were showing his cornerman talking to him. And I'm not sure which trainer was which, but the guy that had the white guy that had the jacket on, I thought he was going to not let him come out. I thought he was getting ready to tell the referee it was going to be over. And then he went out for that round. But I personally did not have a problem with them doing that. I know that Timothy Bradley and some of the other analysts said, well, he wanted to go out on his shield. He said that, I wanted to go out on my shield. I mean, what's he supposed to say? I'm glad that they stopped it. He's, Wilder's he's a warrior. He's not going to say that. But the fact of the matter is, even if he would have caught Fury with his vicious right hand at that point, he didn't have the steam left in it, man. He didn't have the legs to throw behind it. He didn't have the energy. Tyson Fury leaned on him a lot. They had a lot of clinches, and that was sapping a lot of the energy out of Deontay Wilder as well. I don't think that it was going to be winnable no matter what he did beyond that. And I think his corner saw that, and they were saving him. Why let the guy go out and get hit in his face and head for another 20 minutes or so? I think that throwing in the towel was the absolute right move. You have to sometimes save a fighter from themselves.
Yep. What you think, B-Live?
Absolutely.
You think it was the right thing to do?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's one of those things. I think at the end of the day, that's why we have PR departments, have public relations departments with anything that you do. And like you have I mean, the money's already in the pocket to start with. So I mean, you want it to be entertaining, but at the same note, with combat sports, anything can happen. And so like I think the fight went on 4 rounds too many. Like honestly, I think it should have been a count out, knockdown victory at the end of the third. You saw like even when he stood back up, he wasn't all the way there. So it was like when they stopped the fight in the 7th round, when they, I guess, threw in the towel when he was in the corner and everything, we did sort of look like, oh, that's a little controversial. But then when we found out that, I mean, and I think I'd mentioned it before, like when they stopped the fight, when we thought that the referee stopped the fight, like he was literally in the corner and just he couldn't do anything. There was no offense coming from him.
In the UFC, they say he wasn't intelligently defending himself. That's their rule in the UFC, but that was kind of seemed like that was going on there.
All right, fellas, I'm gonna go ahead and give. I'm gonna go ahead and deliver on the other side of this. My pastor, Dr. R.A. Vernon, up here at Word Church in Cleveland, Ohio, he made a very interesting observation / analysis, because I didn't realize it until like, oh, now you remember the last time they fought, Fury Wilder won. Wilder hit him with that, he hit him with that one hitter quitter, and he laid down. And then what did Tyson Fury do? Sat right up like the Undertaker. Do you understand that Deontay Wilder, I'm looking at the stats right now, Deontay Wilder, his knockout percentage is 95.3. That's his knockout rate. So every time he's fighting, somebody's damn near guaranteed to kiss the canvas. When you give somebody your best shot and they sit up and then come back and fight you some more, mentally, that's a mind screw. That had to mess with his mind. And then when this rematch came about, I'm pretty sure that was the first thing in Deontay Wilder's head. I got to get him out early. I got to get him out quick. And also on the other side of his brain, this dude took the best punch. He took this here right-handed bomb, and he still sat up. So I think, in my personal opinion, after being told that by by a pastor, by him saying that, I believe that Tyson Fury had the advantage going in, or as my pastor said, it was over before it even started. I mean, think about it.
I don't quite agree with that as far as it being over before it started, because if you saw Wilder warming up before the fight, man, he was laser focused.
Yep.
He was really mentally prepared for that fight. But I think he's right in that both men knew what happened the previous time, and knew that Fury could take that right and still go on. That for sure gave, I think, Fury a psychological edge, because he pressed the fight from the opening bell. He took the center of the ring 1 second into the fight and had Fury going backwards for that very reason. He didn't fear the right, and he knew that if Wilder was able to plant his legs and get behind it, it could still do that damage. But he definitely had a psychological edge in the fact that he'd already taken his conceivably best punches and didn't go down like the rest of his opponents had.
Yep. So what we think's next, guys? Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. You think that's next?
Well, I think it's going to depend on what Wilder wants to do and his team. I mean, I think he's going to need a little bit of time to recover psychologically as much as physically. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be a rematch within the next 2 months, but down the road, plus you have to figure, this is not we're closer to the end of the line for Fury than the beginning. This guy is 31 years old or 32 years old, something like that.
In his 30s, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like these are a couple 20-year-old guys that are just getting unleashed in at the beginning of their careers. Fury, he's almost said as much as he doesn't have a lot left in the tank as far as, continuing to fight heavyweight fights. This dude's got all kind of stuff going on. I mean, the wrestling and, I'm sure he has other business ventures going because he just seems like the kind of guy that, I don't know what they are specifically, but I know this guy's got a lot of other stuff going on that he wants to do. You can see the entertainment value he has. I mean, he's singing American Pie when the fight's over. So I think he wants to get out of the fight game in the next couple of years. I'm sure that the Joshua fight is going to, that's a massive payday. So I'm sure he's going to want to do that. Whether that one's next or whether the Wilder rematch is next. But I don't think Fury's got more than maybe 3 fights left and maybe one with Wilder. But I think it's going to be Anthony Joshua next. I think the Wilder people are going to probably back off for a little bit.
Yep. Deontay Wilder is 34. Tyson Fury is the tender age of 31.
All right. So there you go. Neither guys are they're both closer to the backside of their career than the early set. Well, I say that, and then Roy Jones fought for like 75 years after his prime. But yeah, and Vander Holyfield, I think he's 65. He's still fighting. So,
Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins. These guys, they don't give up the fight game that easy.
On an elite level.
On an elite level. Yeah,
key.
Damn, Bernard Hopkins. Like, he doing what at what age? Man, look. Will not want to fight Bernard Hopkins. Man, I tell you what, fellas, for a highly anticipated fight, this turned out to be pretty good. I'm just glad it wasn't, just like a absolute boo-boo fest, but it was good. It was a good fight. Good fight. All right, fellas, and moving right along, we're going to talk about college basketball. You can see the thing with everybody singing here today with Tyson Fury. It's all his fault. All his fault. And, as we said at the beginning of the season, it ain't easy being number one. Just ask Baylor. We apologize for not covering the early portions of the college basketball season because of football and everything else is going on. But now with the NFL out the way, it's about that time of the year. March Madness is coming up around the corner. Don't forget the Sports Bros Podcast Bracket Challenge coming up soon. Details on that in the future. So, fellas, let's talk about college basketball. So, as I said, so some of the top seeds lost. The potential number ones. Gonzaga took an L. San Diego State lost. And Baylor took an L as well, too. Gentlemen, how do you think it's going to shape up the upcoming the March Madness brackets?
It's one of those things that this is another one of those years that do we really have a clear-cut number one? And it's one of those things that makes college basketball just beautiful, absolutely beautiful, because not only because this past Saturday, I went ahead and knocked it out and I'm throwing out some numbers to you real quick. On Saturday, number one Baylor lost to number 3 Kansas, 64-61. I'm actually upset with myself that I wasn't paying attention enough to know that number one was going against number 3 this Saturday, because that's a real big deal. But then again, I'm on the East Coast, and you got an East Coast Southern sort of bias, so it's everything.
Well, I did
ACC.
actually mention it on the podcast.
I'm about to say, yes.
So there you go. I mean,
Scotty D did mention, he did do that.
I know you don't like
Scotty D, good for you.
You're lucky to have me, because I did mention last week that we had a 1 versus 3 matchup.
So I do apologize. See what had happened was I'm on day 11 of 16 straight at work, so I'm tired, but I'm still here. We here now, but also number 2 Gonzaga lost Saturday to number 23 BYU 91-78. Number 4 San Diego State University, where my boy, the HOC, the head of creative, got a chance to walk across the stage, graduate from Ashford University. Loved it. But yeah, San Diego State suffered their first loss. The final undefeated team took their first loss to the Rebels of UNLV 66-63. But also this week, we also forget that number 6 Duke lost Wednesday to NC State 88-66, a blowout victory, mind you. And also on Tuesday, number 9 Penn State lost to Illinois.
Had no idea
62
Penn State was
56.
like that good.
Me neither. I was shocked when I saw the number next to their name. I mean, that's a football school if ever there was one, and I think everybody's sleeping on Penn State basketball. At least I know I was.
I mean, well, you ain't the only one, Trump. You
But-
are not alone.
Out of all those losses, though, the Duke one to me seems like the worst one. I mean, Gonzaga lost to another ranked team. You're going to have bad days. Baylor hadn't lost since I think their first or second game of the season. They had won, I think, 23 in a row, and they lost to the number 3 team. So again, that's not the worst thing that can happen to you. But Duke, they just to lose to NC State in such a dominating fashion. I think Coach K was even disappointed. He said they just didn't show up to compete. But it's there's still a lot to be decided. These number 1 seeds, it's too soon to tell. I really like I've watched only a handful of college basketball so far this season, and I watch the big teams, the Dukes, Michigan States, North Carolina, and Kansas to me is the one that has looked the best so far, and that's, I think I've seen them play 2 or 3 games, and one of which was Saturday against the number 1 team in the country on the road. It's hard to argue with a team that has a 7-footer that dominates and a couple guys with some experience. And, this time of year when you don't know a lot about the teams, you look to the coaches, and that's kind of how I'll be judging whenever it's bracket time. But there's still a long way to go before that. We'll get more educated during championship week for sure. And then, we're just a couple weeks away from that.
Yep. Let's see. I'm looking at the AP polls right now. The 2 hottest teams win streak wise in the country. Number 3, Kansas. Are you ready for this one? Number 3, Kansas, who's won 12 straight. And number 5, yes, Dayton, Ohio. Obi Toppin. That boy's bad. So bad.
Flyers, the Dayton Flyers.
Yeah, racers, flyers, cars, planes, jets, all that. Yeah, the Dayton Flyers. Yeah, 16 straight. So let's go over the top 10 right fast, shall we? Baylor number 1, Gonzaga number 2, Kansas 3, San Diego State 4, Dayton 5, Duke 6, Maryland 7, Florida State 8, Penn State 9, and Kentucky, they still in it at number 10.
Yeah, they'll be probably in the top 5. Kentucky, Maryland, Dayton, Florida State, all going to be moving up seemingly because these all those top 4 teams went down, except for Kansas will probably be number 1. I mean,
they'll probably move number 1.
They're locked for number 1 at this point.
Kansas will be number 1. But the thing about it is that how far do you put Baylor down? Really,
I wouldn't think they would go too far down the list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They'll still be top 5 easily. If it be me, right now, if I was to say something, it'd be Kansas, Dayton, Baylor, Maryland, Florida State.
Yeah, and then
that's my top 5.
I think the one that'll take the fall the most will probably be San Diego State, just because they're not playing in as big a conference. So they're up to number 4 as of the past poll because they were undefeated. But I think they'll slip, not all the way out of the top 10, but they'll slip down probably close to 9 or 10. That's just a guess, man. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about half the time. That's just a guess for me.
Oh wow. Oh, Scotty D admitting on the air that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yep, it's gonna be a whole lot of moving and shaking in the world of college basketball, man. And bracket time coming up soon. And guess what? I'm gonna have my brackets in on time this year, okay? So I won't be the butt of jokes amongst us, because I don't know what the hell happened. I forgot, trying to do this whole podcast thing, but almost 1 year, fellas. Almost 1 year. A few episodes away from episode 50. The 1 year anniversary of the Sports Bros podcast. My, how time flies. All right, and that's it for the college basketball roundup. Scotty D, if you want to sit out this here segment, it's all good because we're talking about your favorite football league, the XFL. If you're in St. Louis,
good Lord, we're still talking about this.
every week, you know what time it is, like
week.
two watches, man. Come on, man.
I saw Andy Murray, isn't that his name, or something? Whatever, Murray, quarterback, played for Georgia. I saw him play. I saw McGroin play for the
McGroins.
Yeah, he played for the New York Liberties this past week, and these guys are terrible. There's a reason, if every NFL team has two quarterbacks, and there's not enough good starters in the NFL, that means that there's these guys. You're starting with like the 65th, 66th best quarterbacks available in this league, and they're terrible. And this football is garbage. So there's my input. I'm ready to move on to the next topic.
All right, well, here we go. We're going to give you a little quick recap of week 3 of the XFL.
We are?
Yep, we sure are. It's going to be quick, I promise. I watched some of the highlights, and I'm like, okay, this was pretty good. One of the first highlights I saw was from the Guardians, New York Guardians, and the St. Louis Battlehawks game where, you guessed it, we had the first ever kickoff return in the history of the XFL. It was a nice one, man. It was a very, very nice one. And the Battlehawks defeat the Guardians 29-9. That's right, McGloin and his New York Guardians. I'm sorry, be live. Speaking of another team that got handed an L, the LA Wildcats, they get off the schneid, and they beat the DC Defenders 39. Wow, 39-9, which means Cardale Jones loses for the first time in 5 years?
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
First time. Yeah. First time since high school.
Since 8-9 years ago. He's first L in a while. So
Well, he wasn't the starting quarterback for Ohio State for a good minute, except that 1 year. But yeah. So, but he now takes an L in professional.
What a historic game that was.
All right, here we go. They did put up 39 points. Scotty D, your team, the Dallas Renegades, they defeat the Seattle Dragons 24-12. Scotty D's Dallas Renegades. His Cowboys and his Renegades. You ain't got a team, but we finna pin one on your ass.
Yeah.
Even though he's from Pennsylvania, so nobody understands any of his rationale at this point in time. But I'm just throwing that out there,
It is what it is, and it was what it was.
Very exciting time to be a Renegades fan.
Exactly. You're winning. You ain't got to worry about Jason Garrett. You ain't got to worry about none of that mess. You got Bob Stoops. You got a legitimate coach who done won some games and did some things. All right.
Absolutely. I have his poster up.
I know you would. I know you got a Renegade shirt in the house too.
Absolutely. Got a jersey and says Stoops on the back of it. Go Renegades.
All right. And my team, the Houston Roughnecks, they defeat the Tampa Bay Vipers in what looked to be a pretty exciting game based off the highlights. Like I said, guys, I got a 9 to 5, and sometimes I can watch the games and sometimes I can't. So I won't be completely out of the loop. I go check the highlights. And this game was pretty competitive. The Roughnecks beat the Vipers, man. And so here it is, fellas. We are at week 3 of the XFL season. And I tell you what, man, one takeaway from this week 3, the crowd in St. Louis. The crowd in St. Louis, I think they are happy to have football back. Since the Rams up and left and went back to LA, they are legitimately happy. When the guy scored a kickoff return, you couldn't hear nothing but people cheering. I'm like, man, these folks are happy. And then one of the players, he saw one of the little girls. She had some Girl Scout cookies, Thin Mints. He said, hey, I give you this football. You give me a pack of Girl Scout cookies. I think it's a fair trade. I'm trying to get me some Thin Mints too. Matter of fact, I'm about ready for my cookies to come. That's neither here nor there. that's neither here nor there. So we got the standings here in the East. We got the Battlehawks at 2-1, and the DC Defenders, they also at 2-1 too. The Guardians at 1-2, and the Vipers 0-3. In the West, you got the undefeated Roughnecks 3-0, Renegades, Scotty D's Renegades 2-1, and the Wildcats and the Dragons are tied at 1-2. Did we have like a double forward pass this weekend or something like that?
I think I might have saw, but again, I was trying to watch as much as I could, but business does dictate how much I'm actually allowed to watch sporting events on Saturday and Sunday. So I think I glanced at it, but I really don't have the details come behind it. But really, I think the highlight of this weekend was the reverse on the kickoff return. That is the epitome of what
Absolutely
the XFL is trying to bring to the table.
I actually had that on. When I turned it on, he had just scored. So it was. They were interviewing him on the sideline. He hadn't caught his breath yet. He was
out of breath, about to pass
out of breath. See, I watched.
Yeah, well, he did watch.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna try to give it to you, but it was your
tone.
It was your
Very
condescending tone.
Very historic moment. I mean, I know I'll never forget where I was on my couch whenever the first touchdown was scored by what's his name in the XFL.
Cleaning his damn toes.
Yeah, I was very excited. I even dropped my chicken wing and jumped up off the couch. I was very excited.
Oh man. And yeah, that was a highlight, man. The highlight, man. The St. Louis Battlehawks, man. They looked kind of leaky at first, man, but they're firing on all cylinders. And Scotty D's Dallas Roughnecks, it might be a 2-team race between the Renegades and the Roughnecks in the West. And from the looks of it, it's going to be the Defenders and the Battlehawks. Sorry to be live about your Guardians in this song. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Next week we got the LA Wildcats at New York playing the Guardians. Seattle Dragons at the St. Louis Battlehawks. Battlehawks get 2 back-to-back home games, pretty good. Houston Roughnecks, and the Dallas Renegades, the Battle of Texas. And the DC Defenders, can they bounce back and beat the hapless Tampa Bay Vipers? We shall see. Week 4 in the books. And that's it for the XFL recap.
Okay, that wasn't so bad. We got through it.
Yeah, we're quick, fast, and in a hurry.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Button, thank you once again for that wonderful intro with your lovely self to our favorite section that you heard her say, the choices of the voices, the wonderful and lovely Miss Button. Thank you. Thank you once again. Of course, man, it's choices of the voices section, our favorite section, because we like to hear what y'all said about the question that Scotty D poses every week. And we go back and forth, banter. We might pick at you. We might agree with you. We might disagree with you. Who knows? Until we open up those questions. All right, Scotty D, what's the question for the choices of the voices section of our show?
Well, as I remember it, the question that I posed was, who is more likely to win their next championship? The Lakers to win the NBA title this season, or the Kansas City Chiefs to repeat and win the Super Bowl next season?
Spoiler alert to our listeners. You should have heard Scotty D just try to put it together about the questions, and it was hilarious. Outtakes package coming soon. That's all I got to say. Outtakes package coming soon.
Yes.
All right. So that's the question, and we got some answers. So let's get it started. Our day one, Uncle Max, he says the Kansas City Chiefs. Young, talented, fast, great coaching. Adding a couple of playmakers on defense will make them very hard to beat. This is a team with a shot at becoming a dynasty.
Valid point, your Uncle Max.
Man, valid point. What you think about that, Be Live?
Oh, absolutely. I can agree on some sense. I'm not going to let my answer come out real quick, but those points definitely hit on as far as like the ceiling that the Kansas City Chiefs have, because I think, like as he said, like they the sky's the limit. Like I don't think they've peaked yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see where some teams peak. I think that they still got room for improvement, because just think, if they played the entire game like they played the second half of each of these, or what was it, the second quarter of the Houston game, basically like they were down by 10 points each of those games. What if they started playing off
firing on all cylinders, pow pow pow, every game? Yeah, it'll be great to see, man. Great to see. All right, Trey Dizzle.
And just, I'm sorry, just to step on there, Eddie, but just to add a little bit extra here. I mean, we're talking about these teams as if health is a premium here, because obviously, if Mahomes tears his ACL in preseason, then this question wouldn't be even a consideration. So we're thinking maximum health here, as healthy as these two teams could be going forward, because injuries change a lot, but we're thinking about this as the best case scenario for each team health wise.
Are we?
Well,
I
am. Yeah, I am.
Because that's
me for the most part. I don't know about you.
Because I mean, you can factor that in, as you're saying, if that's part of. Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm saying as teams as it is right now, as things are right now, both of these teams would be considered healthy. But yeah, a lot can happen, a lot can change.
Understandably, so I will allow the train to be put back on the tracks. Because I will definitely opine on that later. Eddie, get it.
All right, back on the track. We got Trey Dizzle. He said to me, this is pretty easy. He said the Lakers are a top 3 NBA team, and LeBron is the GOAT James. But they haven't proven that they can win it all. The Chiefs have already proven it. Since the Chiefs already did it, I think it's going to be easy for them to repeat. Their visions are going to be easier with no Phillip Rivers and likely no Derek Carr in Vegas. Don't know why he put Oakland. All 3 teams are in kind of a rebuild mode now. The Pats are not a threat anymore, and they haven't even upgraded their team in the offseason yet. Clear and obvious answer is Kansas City.
All right, clear and obvious.
Yeah, clear and obvious. I mean, if you think about that division, it's kind of like the AFC East almost to a degree. If you think about, you got the Raiders and you got the Chargers and you got the Broncos, and they have their own underlying issues between coaches, quarterbacks, people leaving, and it being in shambles. So they can run off about a good 4 or 5 straight.
Yeah, well, the point that he's making there is actually a very valid point, as far as saying that division should be pretty much theirs, which puts them at a huge advantage going into the playoffs.
Yep. Got to get that number 1 seed, that home field advantage. All right, we got Ilya, and he writes in and he says, I'm not a fan of LeBron, but he is a GOAT. Just like I don't like Brady, but he was the best. Therefore, I think the Lakers will win this year, especially LeBron saying he will take on Kobe's legacy. If he has a chance to win one more championship this year. And then he said, also, Kansas City is going for a repeat.
Yeah, thanks for the information there. I wasn't really sure what he meant by that last line either, but it sounds like he picked the Lakers, all right? Isn't that kind of...
Yeah, we gonna go with first instinct. First instinct says the Lakers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. First instinct says the Lakers. Hey, Matty Ice, Martin Tracy. Here we go. He's like, the Bucks. Haha, it's okay. Just keep sleeping on them boys from Boston. What in the hell? We got rid of that cancer, flat earther, Kyrie, Celtic Lakers final would make my day.
He found a way to be a homer once again. I don't think that necessarily was the question. Now, but I see what he did there. He's saying that he sees the Lakers going to the finals, maybe, somewhat. I think that's what he was trying to reference the question and
so
be a homer at the same time.
The Chiefs, probably because he's a Patriots fan. He probably thinks the Patriots will win the Super Bowl next year, We'll go ahead and chalk the Lakers up as his answer too, I guess, right?
And then somehow the Bucks
And
got drug into this kerfluffle. Hello, like what happened?
I guess part of that is that because right now, currently, the Milwaukee Bucks are the best
I
team
think
in the
actually
NBA.
I think that I may have mentioned that on the Facebook post. If I think that's where he came up with the Bucks reference. I think that was part of what I had posted when I posted the question. So I understand what he was saying there as far as that goes.
All right, gotcha. Mike Clarity, he says the Lakers are definitely taking it this year.
All right.
Which I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. They motivated basketball, man. Motivated basketball makes you play a little bit harder, a little bit tougher, a little bit strong when the chips are down. Makes you be a real main. All right. We've heard from the family, the Sports Bros Nation, the people, if you will, the choices of the voices. Be live. Who have you selected between Kansas City repeating or the Lakers winning this year? What's more likely to happen?
What is more likely to happen? If we're going off of probability, just because the parity that is the National Football League, we haven't set foot into free agency yet. We haven't set foot into the combine. We haven't set foot in the draft. All kinds of things can happen, and you pick up that one piece that makes your team infinitely better, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes, because nobody, and I mean nobody, saw Patrick Mahomes doing what he does when he came into the league. I will speak for myself, and I know I'm speaking for others because I'm speaking intelligently. All we saw was Texas Tech spread offense. Ain't no way that's going to survive in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball for 70,000 yards and yeah, we didn't see it happen. And then when he comes into the league, whoa, this is actually working. And with the rule changes and protecting the quarterback and everything like that, it was a field day for him. So, I mean, he's definitely taken the game and just revolutionized it. And, I mean, all those speeches that they got. One thing I will say is, what is Sammy Watkins going to be doing next year? That is a question. He hasn't been the pillar of health, but he was definitely part of that winning formula. So, also with that being said, I need to ask this: who was Kansas City's backup when Patrick Mahomes was hurt?
Was it Matt Moore?
I thought it was Chase Daniels.
No, I see, and that shows you because Patrick Mahomes was hurt for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and yet they still managed. That almost might have actually helped them because he was rested and comes into play. But that's the parity that is the NFL. Right now, we're currently sitting in the NBA season with the Lakers and what they're doing. I don't see the Lakers making it. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't even see the Lakers making it to the conference finals.
Wow.
And the reason why I say that is just because playoff basketball is a whole different breed. Like it's like this. I honestly see the Clippers as a better team, and the reason why I say that is just their formula, what they're capable of. I think the Clippers ceiling is much higher than the Lakers. If anything were to happen to LeBron James, the Lakers don't do a thing. And I think that's a very possible thing because LeBron's is in his 17th year. And I think LeBron, as far as like the way he's taken on the game this year, like he's taken on a lot of weight. I mean, like as far as like he has a point to prove. He's not taking rest days and he's doing all this. But I think, why? What are you trying to prove? At the end of the day, if you don't get that trophy, nothing else matters. It really doesn't matter. So LeBron, I take a
Load
rest.
management, Scotty D, isn't that what they call it?
Honestly, I take a couple of
LeBron doesn't like that,
right,
man.
I know. He doesn't like it, and me as an old school basketball player, I don't like it either. But the game has changed. If other players are doing it, and they're going to be more well rested, then you got to go with the times. You've got to. So with that being said, I think my hat will go off to Kansas City just because of Patrick Mahomes. And this goes out to my boss man Sampson, that he hated when ESPN mentioned that Patrick Mahomes is the most exciting player on the planet, because he just loves his soccer. He loves Premier League. He loves Liverpool. But when it comes to the US of A, Patrick Mahomes is that dude. I think the only person that stops Patrick Mahomes from getting another title is Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know. I still right now don't understand how they crapped the bed and lost after being the hottest team on the planet. But that hoss. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But I just don't see the Lakers winning it. I think there's just too much going on. It could end up being a New Orleans Saints a la Hurricane Katrina type situation, where all the emotions and all the it's just in place for them to win it. I just don't.
You don't see it. I'm going to give you mine, man. Kansas City, everything's there. Just about everybody's coming back. They're like, a dynasty wants to be built. Eric Bieniemy not getting a head coaching job is the best thing that happened to that team, especially Patrick Mahomes, because they got the weapons, they got the pieces. They need a few more on defense, and the offense is fine. Like you said, what about Sammy Watkins? Where's he going to be? I mean, sign a little short-term deal, incentive base, and just go from there. Kansas City gonna do it again, man. Like the Lakers, there's a whole lot going on, and we know why with Kobe's death and everything, and that emotion can do two things, motivate you or get in the way if you can't control it. So I honestly think Kansas City, man, they're on fire. They're on fire. Patrick Mahomes, that offense, yeah, they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again.
Yeah. This question is not as simple as I thought it was going to be. But, yeah, I mean, because the Lakers' biggest challenge is really in their own building.
Yep.
And, opening night, Lakers versus Clippers and Kawhi get the win. Then at the All-Star game, LeBron wanted that Kobe MVP trophy, and Kawhi got that. So in two instances already, in kind of a bigger audience, more attention, Kawhi Leonard has been the guy. And to me, the AFC and the NFL, the AFC doesn't seem as strong as it did a couple of years ago, especially with the Patriots, to me, on the downward slide. And I know that a lot of people will be mad at me for saying that, but it just is what it is. It just kind of they showed to be, Tom Brady showed to be human this past year.
Yeah.
And that could change. And that's the whole thing about the NFL. Every year there's a different team that we didn't know was coming that kind of shows up, and it seems to happen from time to time. Having said that, I think the Chiefs can absolutely go back to the Super Bowl. I just think they're going to lose to the Dallas Cowboys. So my pick is the Lakers are going to win the NBA championship this year. Here we go. The Lakers are going to win the championship this year. They're going to get by Kawhi. They're going to get by Giannis.
How
the Cowboys
delirious are you?
The Patriots. They could knock off. They're going to knock off whoever they face next year. So that's my too early for Super Bowl predictions. But we'll have the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, so the Chiefs can't repeat. And what I'm actually really hoping is that after this past Sunday, the Lakers had the big Sunday afternoon game with the Celtics in town. That was a hotly contested rivalry game. And I'm hoping the Lakers really get it going here down the stretch and start to gel a little bit, because if they do, it's going to be a problem for anybody. The LeBron AD thing, and if Kyle Kuzma, steps up into that third score role, you have the playoff experience with Rondo. So I think the Lakers have less resistance and a less physical sport. I mean, it's hard to repeat in the NFL. It really is.
Oh,
The
it
Patriots
is.
did, but the Patriots also had the greatest quarterback of all time, and the Cowboys are going to beat the Patriots. Cowboys, they're going to beat everybody in their
Cowboys
path
are
next
not.
year. Cowboys will probably be 17-0 in the regular season next year, and win the Super
Oh
Bowl.
my! Oh,
What you,
oh,
what, what, you,
did he throw in the extra?
Yeah,
He
the
threw in the
CBA is on the
extra
table. I'm going to
game
get
with
to that in a
the
little bit, but yeah.
CBA.
oh boy, the Kook Scotty G. I don't know if
So
he's drinking
I'm,
Kool-Aid, coffee,
Hot
troop
takes,
juice, or
baby,
what.
hot takes.
Fire!
I'm not. Yeah, your hot takes because he's talking out of his ass right now.
Oh!
Hot takes, baby. But I'm picking the Lakers to win it this year,
Jesus,
and I just fingers crossed, because I am hoping that the wave of emotion with the Kobe Bryant thing propels them to the top. So that's what I'm going with.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so too. But I'm just being realist. Like you said it yourself. Kawhi Leonard has outclassed LeBron James in every way this season, except for I mean, LeBron James is leading the league in assists, which is amazing for him and his ability of seeing the court and everything like that. I just realized something. We've been doing this for a year now. As far as we're coming up on our inaugural episode was March 12th of 2019. So that will be our anniversary episode coming up about 3 weeks from now. But I just realized how I got to ask this again. I know I've talked about this before. How is it possible for one person to be a Cowboys fan, a Lakers fan, and a New York Yankees fan? How is that humanly
Scotty D
possible?
did describe it in one episode.
Yeah.
I'm
an American, so I root for America's team in football. I am absolutely a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, but you see that train wreck, that's a mess. So I like the Yankee history, and there was no NBA team in Pittsburgh growing up, so I was a Magic Johnson fan, and it just stayed with me my whole life. So there you are, B-Liv.
Wow, the disrespect with the B-Liv. Man, you know what? You off the chain today.
As they say in grade school, you started it.
What's more American than okay? I am the stars, the stripes, George Washington, the Capitol Dome, and bubble gum, and liking teams in geographically different areas. I'm sorry.
I can't help it.
Scotty,
so anyway,
Scotty D, as soon as you said something about since I'm American, the song popped up in my head. What's more American? Sorry, my bad. All right, so we got all of our picks in, and shout out to Uncle Max, Trey Duke, Ilya, Lisa Vinko. Yes, I got his name right on the first try. That's why you got to watch you some mid-'90s hockey. I'm trying to tell you. Martin Tracy and Mike Clarity for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scotty D, what's next week's question?
Well, there's been some things I've been watching around the world of sports lately that I'm like, this makes me say about this guy or that guy. That dude is a knucklehead. So let me ask you, who do you think is the biggest knucklehead out there in sports today, in the sports world? It doesn't have to be a player. It could be a commissioner or an announcer or anybody, a player, a former player who can't get back into the league. I mean, it could be anybody that's a knucklehead out there. Who do you think is the biggest knucklehead out there in the world of sports today? So be creative with this one and tell us why you think your guy is the biggest knucklehead.
All right, knuckleheads, you hear that? Who's the biggest knucklehead in the sports world right now? And moving right along, rounding around third base, they're giving us the go-home cue, kind of, sort of, not really. Pepper, 3 topics, kind of, sort of, rapid fire style. Let me go ahead and take this. What am I passing? I think I'm gonna do the XFL ball again, Scott, since you don't like it.
Go for
it. I got to. I have the. Well, I kind of had my pepper points in order, but I'm going to save the best for last. My first pepper point goes to the Lady Gamecocks of the University of South Carolina. They are the regular season champs, which means they'll go into the SEC basketball tournament as the number 1 seed, and they'll probably march all the way to the Final Four and win another one. Let's go, Lady Gamecocks. USC. Go Cox. As I'm wearing my I bleed black and garnet t-shirt. And where them pillows that Be Like Mama got me? Yeah, they over here too. Very, very close vicinity. All right. Who gets the ball? I forgot.
Please give it to Scotty D.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lady Gamecocks. They didn't I see like they had a game a couple of weeks ago where they held their opponents like 2 points in the first quarter or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
It's I think
Mississippi
it was
State.
SEC team. I can't quite remember, but it was something ridiculous. Right. Speaking of ridiculous, this is my opinion. I think it's kind of I don't know if ridiculous is the word, but the new CBA has been proposed. I think we're waiting to find out what the players say about it. But the owners are proposing the 17-game schedule, one less preseason game, an extra team in the playoffs, meaning only one team would get a bye week, and there would be 3 games played on opening wildcard Saturday and 3 on wildcard Sunday. And I'm hoping that this doesn't pass. It's just more of a money grab. I honestly, guys, I love watching NFL football, but Week 16 comes up, man, and I am ready for the playoffs. I've seen enough. I'm ready to move on. I think this is a clever tactic by the NFL. Roger Goodell has been wanting to get to an 18-game schedule. I think going for this 17th game is going to eventually get on everyone's nerves because there's going to be half the league's getting 8 home games, half the league's getting 9. So that'll go on for a couple years, and then they'll say, all right, we're going to have to even it out and add everybody a 9th home game. It's going to go up to 9 and 9. I think it's just a clever tactic by the NFL to slowly move in that direction. I honestly think the current playoff system is fantastic. I think the top 2 teams deserve to have an extra week off. Now you're giving only one team that luxury. I'm not for it. That's all I got to say. I mean, no one's asking me, but I'm telling you, I've never, since the very first episode last year, I've said I'm not a fan of Roger Goodell, and his fingerprints are all over this. So, not a fan. Over to you, B Live.
Oh, could this be a preview of next week's Choices of the Voices? We shall see.
Hey, I like it because I agree with Scotty D. Did you also know? I just realized. Side note that if a playoff team gets like if you get a bye week.
I didn't realize that happened either. That's the way the current system is set up. Yeah. So if you get an extra playoff game, if you're a wild card team that goes all the way through, you actually get paid an extra week.
Hey.
That'll be off the table too. That's something they're going to amend. Also, said if you are the top team, you'll get a paycheck for that wild card week, even if you don't play.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, what? So I'm like, no, I don't want the first round bye. Get me the extra money. But
the only thing I liked out of that proposal was that they are going to expand the rosters a little bit, and I think roster expansion is overdue in today's game. But
it's been overdue. It's been overdue.
Oh, so okay. I'm gonna throw a little extra pepper in this. They're expanding the rosters I didn't even see that part. They're expanding rosters in the NFL.
I forget the number that I think it would add 2 more game day roster spots, something like that, and like another 4 to another additional practice squad would be larger, and the overall roster would expand too. So I forget what the numbers were, but it was something that is significant enough that a few extra roster spots are going to be available.
So it'll be looking like a damn college football team before it's all said and done.
But the reason why I say that, Shots fired, XFL.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that. Cardell
Yeah.
Cardell Jones find his way right back
Right.
into the league.
All right, let's Amtrak this thing real quick. Let me throw my own pepper points at this. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they've already clinched a playoff spot in February.
Wow.
Who does that?
Already. Yeah. 48-8. They're on pace to win 70 games. That's only been done twice in NBA by the Jordan-led 95-96 Bulls that won 72 wins, and 2015 Steph Curry-led Golden State Warriors with 73 wins. Now, Milwaukee could just win the rest of them and have a record 74 wins, but that's not going to happen. That is just there's no need for that. But for them to have already clinched a playoff berth, I mean, says a lot to the MVP type season that is the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, sir. I've been practicing. But yes, I honestly believe just the way they've been playing, I think Milwaukee takes it all. That's why, like, even if the Lakers made it to the finals, I still think that Milwaukee just they have that it factor. And not only just Giannis, but Chris Middleton has been playing like otherworldly as well. So I mean, I'm if I was a betting man, I'm going with the Bucks. Yes, sir. Eddie
Listen,
Cool,
when I went to Milwaukee back
ball.
in January, I saw them live and in person. Oh, they for real. They the truth. The TROOF. They are the truth. And also, shout out to former Atlanta Hawks coach Mike Budenholzer. If you give Mike Budenholzer talent, he'll make it work. He will make it work.
Didn't B-Live pick the 76ers to go to the finals? I think he did.
I don't know.
I thought.
did.
I
thought he
did.
picked
I don't really
the Heats.
I definitely didn't pick the Heat.
I think he picked the Bobcats.
Heat. I really. You've lost your freaking mind, Eddie Cool. Stop it.
Oh man, having fun on the Sports Bros podcast. All right, my second pepper point goes out to, as B-Live mentioned earlier about the Steph Curry-led Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, that's right. He is cleared for contact after he tore his wrist up in the early part of the season, and he is eyeing a March 1st return. Yeah, I guess that post on Instagram with him holding his wife, Aisha Curry, led them to believe, like, yeah, you ready to come back play basketball because you're doing too much. Wrist looks fine. Come back to work because Lord knows they sure need you. They sure need you. Over to you, Scotty D.
No, not over to you. No. I'm on my Stephen. Yes, interception. I'm on my Stephen A. Because I'm on my Stephen A. rant right now. Steph Curry, why? But why? For what reason? What reason would you have to come back to this game right now? The Golden State Warriors are the worst team in basketball by far. 12-45. Like, even if Steph Curry, and that's also without Klay Thompson, the best that the Golden State Warriors could come up with is 37 wins. To do what with? Still not make the playoffs. What are you doing? Be a lottery pick, and like y'all been doing, and y'all draft really well. I mean, come on. There's no reason. I'd be on a boat somewhere chilling. Draymond Green, you're on your own. I'm sorry. I intercepted. My bad.
Why and for what? Be like you got me over
Why?
here like Matt McGroins. McGroins in my feelings, you know. This has to be the worst game I ever played. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right, so a few nights ago, a fan had their sign taken from them at an Astros game, making fun of them about the whole cheating scandal.
Oh,
Just
boy.
another case of the Astros stealing signs. This time they're stealing them from a fan.
Literally.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of these big name players are coming out and I mean, this Astros team is under fire here, guys. You hear Mike Trout and Judge and Stanton and Chapman from the Yankees, Markakis, Bellinger. These guys are all mad. And, it just goes to show you, if you go back and think about whenever the heart of the steroid scandal was going on, you didn't hear big names talking about other guys. Nobody was vilifying the other. And you know why that was? Because everybody was doing it. So This just goes to show you that while other teams might be doing their own little thing to try to pick up signs, nobody was doing what the Astros were doing. Nobody had that elaborate system going on. Otherwise, it would also, I think, have come out by now. So the Astros, they're going to have a long season. They're going to be booed heartily in every stadium they go to. And as I mentioned before, thank God they don't play the Dodgers in a regular season this year. But I just thought it was kind of fitting that fans took signs to the games that were making fun of the Astros, and those signs were taken from them. Signs, everywhere signs. Over to you, Be Live.
So, a quick. Did you just mention that the Astros don't play the Dodgers in the regular season at all
this year at all?
Oof.
Oh, okay, wow. That's yes, safe. But yeah.
Hold on. Audible. What's the over under that the Houston Astros? How many fist fights to get into this year? What's the over under?
Boy, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fists. There may be a couple bench clearing. I think maybe 3 or 4 at the most. But Vegas did set like beanballs an actual number.
I knew it.
How many times they're going to get hit? And I think it was in the 80s. I don't remember that number specifically, but they're going to have some chin music coming their way this year. No question.
It's going to be a long season.
I say one for every away game. Yep. 82, 81. I mean, just and really this is going to happen. I'm sorry, baseball. They you do
they
wrong.
They take it into their own hands.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Let me throw some things out here. We talked a little silliness right here. So Sam Darnold, the quarterback for the New York Jets, may have found another calling because he recently just won the American Cornhole League Super Hole Celebrity Throwdown Championship with his partner Matthew Sorrells, and they won in convincing fashion, 21 to goose egg, 0-0 nada, which is just an amazing feat in the sport of cornhole. ESPN 8, the Ocho, gotta love it. Eddie Cool.
Okay, Scotty D, you kind of changed my third pepper point due to next week's Choices of the Voices question. So I'm gonna give you a little sneak preview via the pepper point. Greg Robinson. Here comes a rant.
Yeah.
Here comes a rant, fella, for next week. I had it ready now, but I'm going to sit on this one, and I'm going to let it boil, and I'm going to let it simmer, and I'm going to let it get together. I know I sound like Vince McMahon, but you got it coming. You got it coming. You got it coming. Over to you, Scotty D.
Okay. Sound like you got somebody might be heading to the penalty box next week.
Take your shirt off now.
All right. I'm just going to piggyback a little bit more on my last point, and that's because Big Papi this past week came out and he I didn't like this, but he's called Mike Fiers a snitch. Mike Fiers is the guy that blew the whistle on this whole Astros thing, and Big Papi's he's mad at him for not keeping his mouth shut about it. I guess he's defending Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner, and I'm not really sure why. It makes me wonder what really goes on with Big Papi, because you see the big lovable character out there all over the place, but maybe it's because his name was on that steroid list years ago, and he didn't like being called out on that. But I'm not a big fan of Big Poppy calling out Mike Fiers like he did the wrong thing. And I understand, I kind of understand his point of view in that Mike Fiers didn't say anything at the time this was going on when he was back with the Astros. You got to figure there's a lot of pressure in that situation if the whole team is all amped up doing this scandal, that Fiers is going to be the odd man out in his own clubhouse if he speaks out about it. He did benefit from it. You know, he got the World Series ring and check and all that. But I think Mike Fiers did the right thing by coming out and exposing this situation. And furthermore, I think when Mike Fiers goes on the road as opposed to the Astros, he's going to get a hero's welcome at a lot of stadiums this year. So I'm just the whole Astros scandal thing is something that is not going away anytime soon. And you hear different guys chiming in on it, but the Big Poppy chime in was one that kind of irked me just a tad. Over to you, B Live.
All right. There's a lot of fire, a lot of angst, a lot of silliness that goes on with us here at the Sports Bros podcast. But this is a feel-good story that I want to conclude Pepper with today. All right. The Carolina Hurricanes, when they were facing the Toronto Maple Leafs this past Saturday, the starting goalies, James Reimer and Peter Mrazek, both left the game at some point in time with injuries. So on the roster, they had an emergency goalie, which just so happened to be the Zamboni driver for the franchise. David, I want to try to pronounce his last name. Ayres?
Yeah.
Ayres? Maybe Ayres? David Ayres? I'm going to go with David Ayres. If I didn't get it right, guess what? I don't care because I'm not a professional. I'm going to get there one day, maybe. But yes, he was the Zamboni driver, making sure the ice is all smooth and everything, working it out for the team. He gets called up to suit up and enter the game as a goalie. And he preserves the victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Hurricanes win 6-3. And what makes this even better, he goes from a Zamboni driver to a hero. And the city of Raleigh, North Carolina, is announcing that Tuesday, the day that this podcast comes out, will be David Ayers Day in Raleigh to honor him. To go from a Zamboni driver to having your own day in the city of Raleigh, it's like just an amazing story.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's just an amazing story. I really do enjoy what the Carolina Hurricanes do PR-wise. It's just a fun franchise. And I will be at Carter Finley Stadium next year for the NHL Outdoor Series in Raleigh. I have to be there for that. It will be going down in 2021.
I think I'm going to try to make that too.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to bust a move and get down there, man.
Man, oh man, just a feel-good story. And that's my little bit of pepper.
All right, that's it.
Yes, sir.
Topics, we kind of drug it along, but it was good, entertaining. This is why you come back week after week after week after week and listen to the Sports Bros podcast. The sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans. All right, we get ready to go home and get up out of here. Scotty D, how can they get in contact with you? How can they reach you? How can they talk to the money man, the trivia god himself?
Find me on Facebook or come see me at Bowie's or Wild Wing Cafe. Monday at Bowie's, Wednesday at Wild Wing. And as always, Beast Ninja, the top obstacle course training gym, 24-hour gym down in Myrtle Beach. Come see me. Yes, sir.
Booyahs.
You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Be live. Where can they reach you?
All right. You can reach me here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I work at Max Speed Shop on 42 North McPherson Church Road, home of the best burgers, beef brisket, pulled pork, all of that award-winning
Bunch of
freaking
beers on
barbecue.
tap.
Oh, I've gained. Yes, I'm getting there. So you know what? Hold on. What we do this every week. I don't pick on you when you announce
I didn't say it.
booyahs, even though it's but just you know what?
42
I
McPherson Church
digress.
Road. We had the best barbecue and brisket. Come see your brother and all beers on tap. Yes, sir. My boy. I'm just helping.
I don't need your help.
I'm helping. You're my boy.
At all. You know what? If I could reach through
ladies and gentlemen,
this
is the greatest job in the world. It does not pay. Oh, Jesus. This is great. One day.
It will one day. One day. Oh, boy, if I don't end up in jail for choking
You
this
guys are so lucky to have me.
Right. Anyway. Yeah. Yes, at Max Speed Shop with 57 beers on tap and 200 bottles and cans of beer and all types of goodies and whatnot. You can also find me on Facebook. Your boy, Brian Livingston, is the official name on Facebook. You can find us, the Sports Bros Podcast, on our Facebook like page, coming up to almost 900 likes and follows, man. Love it. And check us out on Instagram, Twitter. Instagram is at Sports Bros Podcast. On Twitter, it's Sports Bros PCast. Any comments, questions about the show, you can hit us up via email at sportsbrospcast@gmail.com. Check me out on Wednesdays or anytime I feel like I'm doing it with the newest episodes of What Happened. I'm going to cut the Wednesday off there because you know what? My brother be busy. I might just do it whenever I see something happen. It's just always going to be something that's got me scratching my head, asking, What happened? Yes, sir.
All right, as B-Live mentioned, you can catch us on the aforementioned Sports Bros Podcast social media sites. Also, you can catch me on Facebook under the name Eddie Cool. That ain't my government name, but hell, you get it. Also, you can catch me on Instagram at Cool Season, all one word. If you do the thing called Snapchat, you can catch me on Snapchat, as the old folks said. You can catch me on the Snapchat too at SuperCool5000. If you're up in Ohio, in the Cleveland area, holler at a brother. We'll come out and talk some sports and have a beer, and I'll tell you how to run a podcast and live life and have some fun. Oh yeah, and to our listeners, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, I need you to do this. Go to the very, 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 very bottom, leave a review, and rate the podcast. Give us 5 stars. Tell us Eddie Cool said so. Tell us, say Eddie Cool said so, or I'm eating a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. I'm taking care of my chicken like Marshawn Lynch. Whatever you want to do, man, just leave us a good comment and a good 5-star rating. What it does, it works with the algorithms, and makes us more easier to find, the Sports Bros Podcast. In case you noticed, the logo is there now. You don't see our wonderful faces no more, but shout out to Reese for the logo. And that's it for another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Anything I want to say, fellas, before we go?
Yes, sir. Let's say yes, sir.
Wow. 48 episodes. A year of this silliness. And Scotty D grows to be more and more annoying every single week. And I wouldn't have it any other way, you bastard.
And with that being said, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it. Everybody be good to each other. Take care. Love is all we need. That's all I got. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. And as always, thank you
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, and the levee was dry.
No water.
Try. Them good old boys are sipping whiskey and rye and singing, "This will be the day that I'll die."
Bye.